So why aren't the Arizona Cardinals rumored to going after Abdul Carter? Oh, I know. It's going to cost so much in the draft. It's going to be just a lot of draft capital to be able to go out and get what is, I think, the best player in the draft. Better than Travis Hunter, better than Cam Ward. If you pass up on Abdul Carter, it's because you need a quarterback. I have no idea what the Browns are doing. I have no idea what the Giants are doing. But just so we're being fair, why aren't the Arizona Cardinals in the Abdul Carter sweepstakes? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm being a little facetious here. But if the Cardinals offered every pick they have in this draft for Abdul Carter, I probably wouldn't do it, but I'd think about it. If the Cardinals gave a future second-round pick, and their second-round pick this year, and obviously a swap of first-round picks to jump all the way up to the third overall selection to the New York Giants to go get Abdul Carter, I would do it in a heartbeat. And you ask yourself, well, it's not really all that fair because you're going to get one player, you're going to give up a lot of draft assets. The Arizona Cardinals already don't have a lot of draft picks to work with, and I would say, so what? Let me just ask you a question. If you could pick one player in this draft, any player, not realistically, whoever it is that you would like on this team from this draft pool, who would you take? And why is it Abdul Carter? If the Cardinals got one player in this draft, and that player was Abdul Carter, he would fix one of your deepest positions of need at the edge rusher position. He's without a doubt, in my opinion, the best player in the NFL draft, and he's at a position you need. And if you're the New York Giants or the Cleveland Browns and you feel like it's too much of a reach to take a quarterback at 2 or 3, Shedeur Sanders is going to likely fall all the way to the Arizona Cardinals pick. And if he doesn't, you could still trade back up in front of the Saints or someone else and still get your guy. But I think that is a better excuse for passing on Abdul Carter than just taking a quarterback because you need a quarterback. Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, these kind of guys are not necessarily changing the landscape of the NFL next season. But the Cardinals need a game changer. And they have issues at the pass rushing position. And although I've sang the praises about elevating the floor of this team and their pass rushing woes, if we're just being fair here, Abdul Carter checks a lot of boxes. And if you're the Cardinals and you want to give up a future second-round pick, your second-round pick this year, you're a swap of first-round picks this year, and a fourth and a sixth-rounder for Abdul Carter, what are you doing? You should be doing that in a heartbeat. This is the type of aggressiveness that I've been trying to say about Monty Ossenfort that he needs to start diving into. Because if the Cardinals do get Abdul Carter for some reason in Thursday's NFL draft, you are talking about one of the worst defensive lines last year, propelling itself all the way into like the top 12 conversation. And then forget any of that. If you could just ask yourself one player in this draft, not realistically, just someone you would want that would help this Cardinals defense, who would you say? Abdul Carter. So, no, I don't think it's realistic that they're going to do it, largely because the Cardinals have been very conservative, and to their point, it has built a pretty good football team. But this team needs a pass rusher and needs to go get a blue chip talent. And there's one player in this whole draft who I think, as of right now, is the best player and is maybe the only blue chip guy in the draft. It would be Abdul Carter. As much as I think Travis Hunter's a good player, Shedeur Sanders, good player, whoever it is, there's one guy that changes games. You need a wrecker on the defensive line. Let's say he gets you 9 sacks this year, which I think is very doable for someone with the talent of Abdul Carter. That is 9 sacks he didn't have last year that you could have really used. And if you are asking yourself, if adding Abdul Carter is the difference from making the playoffs and not making the playoffs, why in the world would you not be doing everything to make it happen? And then you're talking about a defensive line. And then you're talking about a defensive line with Abdul Carter, Calais Campbell, Josh Sweat, Dalvin Tomlinson, Darius Robinson. That propels from one of the worst defensive lines from last year to one of the better ones. And if that means you get 2 less selections in this year's draft, whatever. I'm in the mood for being aggressive. And if Abdul Carter turns into a top 5 pass rusher, top 5 to 7 pass rusher in the NFL, which I think is very doable, you're not going to remember the 6th round pick, 2nd round pick, and 3rd round pick that they gave up. You're just not. No one right now says, hey, I would love to trade Myles Garrett for a 2nd, 3rd, 6th rounder and a swap of firsts. But that's the kind of price that is going to be the price for this year's NFL draft, given the fact that it's just not a good draft. So why the Cardinals aren't in the Abdul Carter sweepstakes is beyond me. And it's funny because I mentioned at the beginning of the show, this is the kind of things that you get here. Innovative, creative ways for you to consume sports. I go through every outlet, and sometimes it's a little crazy. And then I get the notification this morning, teams calling Browns and Giants for those picks. So you'd have to call the Browns or Giants. But now buzz is starting to percolate with this with this NFL draft about potentially moving up in the draft. Okay. So we know how I stand on Abdul Carter. The Cardinals should be doing everything they can to go get the guy. And I've spent time on first-round selections, but let's spend 5 to 6 minutes on guys that I just want the Arizona Cardinals to target. Let's say that they just have a normal draft. They don't trade up. They don't trade back. They get a Will Johnson at 16. They get a Justin Simmons at 16. They get a Jalen Carter, a Jahad Campbell at 16, whatever. That's not what we're focusing on right now. I've got 3 guys that I would like the Arizona Cardinals to at least get 2 of them. And these are guys that, to me, seem like culture guys and have the potential to be even more than that. And these are the 3 players: Riley Leonard, Jack Sawyer, Cam Skattebo. If I could get 2 out of those 3 guys in the back ends of these drafts, I would consider it a success. Riley Leonard, big arm, mobile, and you saw the way that he played in the playoffs outside of the championship game in the first half. He was pretty effective. I think he is the most project-oriented talent in the NFL draft in terms of quarterback. That's a guy that if you mold him correctly, could turn in to one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. He has all the tangibles. Big, strong, athletic. Those are the type of things you want to see in your quarterback. And Kyler Murray, we're not sure if he is going to rise up to the task this year or show us all that potentially maybe he's not the franchise quarterback that we thought he was going to be. And instead of getting caught flat-footed, start to have a succession plan in place. And if it doesn't work out because Kyler's awesome, which is a great place to be, you move on from Riley Leonard. Easy. And it doesn't cause any worries in the locker room about who the quarterback is right now. It's Kyler, but apply some pressure. And then you got Cam Skattebo. The thing that frustrates me the most about the Cardinals fan base and media is like, you don't need Cam Skattebo. Yeah, because James Conner's always stayed healthy. He's a very healthy individual. Did you see the Cardinals offense last year? The second James Conner went off the field in that Seahawks game. They were a shell of themselves. They needed someone who could help be a bruiser and fill the hole of what James Conner does. And that's exactly what Cam Skattebo did. Or that's exactly what Cam Skattebo could do. Well, you drafted Trey Benson last year. Okay. I drafted Josh Rosen one year, and then I drafted Kyler Murray the next year. What do I care? I'm not worried about what I did last year. I'm worried about what I did this year. And as much as I do like Trey Benson, I think in the NFL now, you need 2 or 3 backs because of the injuries, and you're constantly switching out guys each and every play. And Cam Skattebo, I think with the ceiling he has, culture guy, bruiser, fits exactly what the Cardinals could do. He would make sense for this team. And then lastly, Jack Sawyer. Jack Sawyer, if Jack Sawyer is not picked by the Cardinals in the NFL draft, that would be the most disappointing thing that could happen. Because you know that they could get him. And I think it's pretty clear what Jack Sawyer is. He's a diamond in the rough that everyone knows has potential, but because everyone has overshadowed him too much, or maybe he's too small, or he's too big, or he's not big enough, he's not fast. All I know is the dude makes plays. There is just a football quality that some dudes have that can't be measured by a speed test or an agility test or a hands test. There's just a certain gamer mentality that dudes have, and Jack Sawyer has that. And as much as I like Riley Leonard and I like Cam Scatterbo, Jack Sawyer is at a position that the Cardinals desperately need. And I understand, he's not big enough, he's not fast enough, he doesn't play the position the way I'd like for him to do it. But let's just be honest. The dude makes plays, and that's all I'm looking for. I'm looking for a playmaker late in the 5th, 6th, 7th, 4th round who could be more. But Jack Sawyer is that guy. That's a dude that you could just go after, go get, plug and play, and you know he's got a certain floor to him to where he's not going to just completely fall right on his head. Leader, national champion, makes plays, not necessarily the fastest or the strongest or whatever guy, but there's just a football quality to him that I want him on this team. And it also is kind of funny that the 3 guys I picked, and I didn't realize right now, that I'm saying are gritty, good athletes with the potential to be more, are all white. That is kind of funny. It is kind of funny and puts me in the stereotypical category that's whatever. But, listen, happens. I think we can all agree that we like those guys. But either way, Abdul Carter is someone you should be trading up for. Riley Leonard, Cam Scatterbo, Abdul Carter. 2 of those 3 I want on this team. And just so we're being fair, if I had to pick the 2, I would take Riley Leonard and Jack Sawyer. I'd be fair to say, and I think it'd be fair to be that guy that says Cam Scatterbo probably the least of the most important that you need, although it would just be really fun. But those are some of those supplemental guys that I would be disappointed in if they didn't get 2 of those 3. Those guys have raw potential that if tapped in correctly and coached up correctly, those are a couple of guys that you could really use on this team next season.